Gary Gray here. Welcome to How to Create an Effective Showreel. This video is part of a huge project being put together by Davison, founder of HowToLicenseYourMusic.com. That project is called the Ultimate Music Licensing Guide. Now, let's get on to how to create an effective showreel. I think the best way to start out is by watching a showreel. Here's one that I just produced, which resulted within 48 hours of me releasing it in a multi-album production deal with EMI Production Music out of London. And this is the first showreel I ever attempted to produce myself. So here it is.
It's dark in there, doesn't it?
Joke's on you! Ha ha!
It's forward, not forgetting our and we'll fly higher over the ground and into the sky.
Creating a showreel immediately forces one to consider a very important thing in music licensing: time. Just like you, music supervisors, publishers, etc. are frustrated because they have so much work to get done and so little time to do it. So, in that spirit, we're going to make this very fast and give you a lot of good information quickly. First, definition of a showreel. A showreel for a musician, sometimes referred to as a demo reel or a composer showreel, is an audio-visual resume. Okay, first of all, some of you may be asking this question. Well, how can I put a showreel together that's a resume when I haven't done anything in the field yet? Good question. Good news for you, though. You don't have to have any music licensed in order to put together a showreel that can help you get your music licensed. Let's look at more of this. Having an effective showreel put together, even if you're brand new, will greatly raise your odds on getting your music licensed. All right, here's the recipe for an effective showreel. Ingredients. 1. A well-crafted song or composition, or better yet, songs or compositions, plural. 2. excellent audio production. And we're talking about the entire soundtrack of this showreel. It's not just your music, it's going to be a soundtrack. You'll see more about that soon. 3, professionally executed video production and post-production editing. Now, the video production part of it is something you could actually do yourself. And before you think it's going to be really difficult, I had no experience at video production and thought it was going to be way harder than doing audio production. Here's more good news. Video production is easy compared to audio production. Okay, directions. So our first ingredient we're working with here is well-crafted songs or compositions. So here's the advice I give to all my students that I'm mentoring. First of all, if you want to put together great compositions and songs, which is our first ingredient, go straight to howtolicenseyourmusic.com. Aaron Davison has put together an amazing website there that has all kinds of resources, blogs, podcasts, videos, courses. There's so much information there. A lot of it is free. And there you can find out a lot about putting together music for licensing. Then I tell them, I show them how to make a showreel, and they get all excited about the visual and they forget about the quality of the audio, which is what this thing is doing. It's presenting your audio, but with a visual medium attached so that people can see it. Because after all, we're going for films, commercials, video games, etc. That's one of the things we're doing. Radio commercials, no visual media. But still, people can get an idea of how your music syncs to visual this way. So in terms of excellent audio production of the showreel and the entire soundtrack of it, make sure you have the audio production excellent and then make your showreel, okay? And the last ingredient we talked about was a professionally executed video production and post-production editing. Now you can do that with software that's not expensive at all. There's some free software you can do this with. And if you're very deft at tech and computers, I would definitely say try it yourself. I was staying away from it. At first, I hired somebody, and then when I watched them do it, I thought, I could do that. And so I started doing it, and it hasn't taken me long to get up to speed. On my showreel, I use Sony Vegas Pro 11. It's a video production software and editing software. And I used Cubase to do audio, just to show you how real this is for someone who's starting out. One of my top students in Los Angeles is Bob Musavi. And I'm actually going to be traveling over to his house, and you're going to see that in just a moment here. He's a new student, so he hasn't had anything licensed yet, and yet we still put a showreel together for him, which is included, by the way, in Music Production Fundamentals. In that course, there's one of the videos, which is about an hour, more than an hour long, which is a live mentoring session with myself, mentoring Bob Musavi. And you can see at the end of that particular video in the course, you'll see his showreel, which turned out really nice. So it opens doors. Believe me, showreel opens doors. So definitely, this is important. Now, I put a lot of thought and planning into the showreel. I want you to do that too. You need to, you've heard of a storyboard for a movie. Well, that's like kind of drawing out the actual scenes in simplified form before you put it together. And I suggest definitely doing a lot of planning. Once I had it planned out, then the execution of it really became attention to detail and meticulous work to make sure that the audio was flawless and that the video was exciting and interesting. It held people's attention. As I said, these people don't have a lot of time. So you want to grab their attention, and it needs to look and sound professional. So I would stay simple if you're not very well experienced at video production. Just keep it simple. If it's simple and it looks good and your audio sounds good, you're going to be in the driver's seat. Everything I'm showing you is vital here today. And even if I just get you to consider putting a showreel together, I feel like I've done a service for you, because once you do, it will open doors that have never been opened before. Let me just tell you what happened to me. 48 hours after I finished my showreel, one of my students, Liz Chirelli, who lives in Italy, she has an album that's signed with EMI, an album deal, EMI Production Music in London. And she was so excited about me mentoring her that she showed her producer at EMI my showreel after I finished it. Well, I got an email direct from EMI, and little did I know, I didn't know at all, that they were actually distributing one of my albums from Megatracks, which is on my showreel. Now, if I wouldn't have done that showreel, if they wouldn't have seen it, I wouldn't have gotten probably one of my biggest breaks to date. Here's what happened. They sent me an email after they saw the showreel, and they offered me a multi-album deal for EMI music production out of London. I mean, that's the kind of break that I've been working for like 30 years to get, and I got it. So, and that's really as a result of my showreel. So I'm so excited about this. That's why I want to encourage you to put together a showreel. Absolutely. So when I put this video together, I didn't want to just, have here's how you do a showreel without showing the context of how showreel fits in to the toolbox and the career of somebody who wants to make a living with licensing their music. Bob's actually, you're a perfect poster child for this thing. If you know about Bob, Bob has a passion for dubstep music, electronic music, and orchestral and classical music. And you may have seen him on Music Production Fundamentals. And we did a mentoring session, a live mentoring session that I get a lot of great feedback on.
Awesome.
Yeah. And interestingly, at the end of that mentoring session, the piece we were working on turned out so well that we put together a showreel. And so this is perfect. I mean, this is just a perfect lead-in to this particular video. So let's try it from the beginning.
Okay.
Good. So what did you think that time?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So that's excellent. So that's basically covering dynamics and exaggeration and automation, automating EQ. I mean, there's other things you can automate. You can automate the reverb while things get louder. You can automate delay. You can automate anything in pretty much any DAW these days. And it's not that you have to, overdo any of these things. But again, since you're presenting this medium of a recorded piece of music through boxes, speakers, the listener doesn't have the, luxury of watching the performer. Because, a lot of times you see a guitar solo playing and half the passion of his guitar solo is in his face. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And it just makes everything sound better. So if you don't have that face, you have to put that face on your music. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. You've got to recreate that somehow.
Totally. Totally. So let's fast forward a few days, and Bob Musavi has now sent me his latest mix of Milestone 1, which I mastered for him. And here you have it. The world premiere, Bob Musavi, Milestone 1. in putting together Showreel, as I said, I didn't want to just to have, okay, do ABC and there's your Showreel. I wanted to also show you that it's a tool in a toolbox, and to get a big picture of this thing, it's important not to come off the point of creating quality audio tracks, your music. And it might be, it might sound obvious, but here's what happens. I tell people, here's how you make a showreel. They forget that the showreel is to showcase the audio. So in creating the audio, there's tools that you use in your toolbox, and one of them is theory, music theory. Now, some people think it's not necessary, puts you in a box, and it's really confining. And we've been covering theory for about a year now. And I just wanted to get your kind of feedback and input on what was your viewpoint about with theory then and now?
Yeah, exactly as you said. I thought theory was, might stifle me or put me in a box. And it did just the opposite.
When we started, you didn't have much of a theory background at all. And your productions were incredible. And then my first, response when I gave him feedback and critiques was, you might look at some, getting some music theory under your belt.
That's right. Yeah. Like experimentation and happy mistakes that would create, cool sounding songs. And just as you said, I was one of those people that thought that maybe theory would stifle me or put me in a box, but it had the exact opposite effect. It gave me this huge toolbox of amazing tools to use. It helped me understand emotions and how people react to things, helping me become more prolific and produce better quality music too.
Awesome. And there's this revolution that's happening now, and it's called the mobile musician. There's apps that are coming out for your iPhone, for your iPad, that are unbelievably inexpensive and really amazingly effective. One of the things that I did, and I do with all my students when I get into setting them up so that, in the sequence of things, they get their audio production chops down. Theory and production are not really separable. When you start to mix, if you know theory and you're mixing, would you agree with this, Bob? That you can find problems and solve them fast and solve them really well.
Yes, it was fascinating what we'd run into with my lessons, that you can use theory as kind of a mixing tool.
Would you say, because some people shy away from making a show reel, like audio producers and engineers, they're like, oh, no, that's going to be too hard. How hard is it to mix a song versus create like a show reel?
Oh, the song being something that you can't see, to me is more difficult. Audio is something ethereal that's out there, whereas a showreel, video is right there in front of you. You can see it, you can splice it, you can piece it together, especially with the tools they have these days, the software.
Yeah, because for me, it was the same way. I thought, there's no way I'm going to make a professional product. Maybe I'll put together a little demo and then give it to somebody and say, can you make this thing totally pro? And I ended up making my own show reel. So it's so much easier than working with audio. Audio, you could have, 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 tracks with all these decisions you have to make. And as you said, it's an invisible, subjective art form. And with video, it's so much easier. You can see it. It's right there in front of you. It's more objective, and you only have a few tracks to work with. So I totally encourage people to, if you can, create your own show reel. And then if it's above and beyond you, as I said, do find someone that can help you create the show reel, because having it is going to open doors for you that may have never opened before. I think after you did your show reel, you ended up giving a total presentation. They asked you to come as a guest speaker for the Orange County Electronic Music Producers Association, and you were the guest speaker on putting together orchestral hybrid music with electronic. Isn't that right?
That's correct. Yeah, it helped. Showed my show reel to everyone, and it's nice. It's like something nice that you can show a part of your portfolio that's visual, and it sets you apart from just sending somebody an audio clip. Hey, watch my video and audio together. It seems to grab people's attention more and at least get them to respond to you.
This is an incredible man here, and you'll be looking, I'm sure, at seeing his name, Bob Musavi, as composer for major motion pictures.
What the scientists are looking out for are the 5 cataclysmic events most likely to devastate our world. An arc storm, an asteroid impact, a megaquake, mega tsunami, and a supervolcano. How will the world end? 120 miles underground, a mass of molten rock as big as Los Angeles soars toward the surface. It's 1,500 degrees, enough to melt the surface rocks and set off dozens of earthquakes.
To those of you out there who have ever thought about or maybe never even considered putting together a showreel, I strongly advise it. It's going to open up doors that may have never opened up for you before. And here's to creating a great showreel, and good luck.